Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be going over the third book of the Planet Pirates series, Generation Warriors, by McCaffrey and Elizabeth Moon. But before we get into that one, as always, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you, and spread the word. It helps me out, and I appreciate it. So, with this one, there's a lot going on, and this reads a lot like a space espionage book, like a big espionage book. You don't know who's doing what. You only know who are on the good sides, and you hear about who might be on the bad side, but you don't really know who they are exactly. And we get a little bit more of a look into the other alien races. The Slee, which are kind of hard to pinpoint, they live in like tanks, and they are able to track things in like outer space. And then there's the Webs, who they can appear in human form, but that's how they appear. But their original form is this really weird looking thing with a whole bunch of like eyes and innards coming out, and that's when they're able to really like talk minds, telepathically, I should say. Then you have the SETI, who are like a lizard kind of race. The Heavy Worlders, which are like humans but bigger. They've been adapted to be bigger and stronger and all of that. And I'm sure there's probably others that I'm leaving out, but those are the big ones that come in. Everybody kind of goes on their own mission here, and it's interesting the way that the missions go, because for Lunzi, she goes to Diplo, where she runs into Zabara, which is kind of an old heavy worlder flame for her. Except he's 40 years older now. He's like 80 years old and pretty much going to be dead within the year, he says. And he basically is trying to get her to bring this information back. He doesn't really say exactly what the information is, but it's supposed to blow the lid off of everything, what happened in the history of the colonization of Diplo. But the only way that she can bring it back is to go through cold sleep again. And she doesn't want to do that. And the thing that kind of saves that mission, really, is when Zabara takes her to an opera to see this epic opera written that basically takes place during the colonization of Diplo and how the lightweights basically left them there. And the only reason why they eat meat is because the men starved, or most of them starved, due to the really cold winters. And there was almost going to be cannibalism until the women found that there were other life on the planet that they could eat as long as they could kill. They were like 6-horned kind of beasts, muskies. And this is one of the reasons why heavy worlders are looked down upon, because they eat the flesh of sentient beings. But this is part of their heritage, and this is what they want known, but they can't. Nobody really understands that. So she's got that whole mission that she's taking on. Ford goes off on his own. He goes to see Auntie Q, and who is rich beyond rich and lives on this luxury yacht in space. And she was married to one of the powerful families. Actually, there's two powerful families, but one of which has ties to the pirates. and she does have like stock within the family company. But there's a medium on the yacht, Madame Flaubert, who is very mysterious and says that Ford has this aura about him that it's all violence and he's going to die in violence because of the life that he lives. He needs to change. And the first day there, he gets sick. And he thinks it was the cargo vessel that he was on, maybe food poisoning. And then the next day, he's still not right, and it kind of keeps going. And it's finally he realizes that, you know what, something's not right. I'm going to die here on this old woman's yacht, where I could like die in any heroic situation. This is where I'm going to go down, basically. And we find out that Madame Flaubert works for the Paradins, and that she knows why he's there, and doesn't want him to get any answers. She's going to kill him, and she has contact poison these rings. Well, what happens to her is her rings make a hole in the gloves that she is using, and that then has the poison go into her system, and she dies. And after she dies, Auntie Q becomes much more her old self again. You know, the woman that got the Rixie tail feathers on her dress. And, you know, Lady Q's like, you know, you have to introduce me to Sassenach, because I think I would like her. And that's got, obviously, this is who Ford is seeing. And Ford's like, okay, I'll do that. And he actually likes her, where none of the other family likes her. They don't have anything to do with her, even though he had ulterior motives for going. He still had, you know, he ends up liking her in the end. Then there's Sassenach, who has her own thing going on planet at Fed Central, and it's trying to get ready for this trial that's coming up and a council hearing and all of this stuff. And she's trying to blow so many things out of the water. And she comes across somebody who, by the name of Fleur de Paris, who knew Abe. And she was supposed to find out the night of her graduation that Abe and her were going to be married. That, you know, that was going to happen, though Abe got killed that night. But Fleur teaches Sassenach an important lesson. Don't have that vengeance in your heart. Don't be just a planet pirate searcher. Don't be just looking for them. Don't be looking for the vengeance. You know, have some room for compassion in there. It's what Abe would want. It's what he would have taught her. And she realizes that she's gone all these years, and she's never really mourned him. She's never really cried for him the way that she probably should have. So, in a nutshell, everything comes to a head in the last 30, 40 pages of this book. You've got a SETI fleet coming in that are coming to take over Fed Central, or at least be in cahoots with the ones that already have it. You've got Sassenach doing her thing on the ground, sort of a mini coup going on. Ford is there, helping, basically. And you have Sassenach's not on the ship during the SETI, when the SETIs are coming. She has well, it's not even her second because he's gone as well. He's gone off to see his Auntie Q. So it's basically like third down the line who is taking over the ship. And she's got a good head on her shoulders, and she's the one that's gotta now. Arlie is the one that needs to take on the SETI. Well, what she doesn't plan on is getting help from the Thek, the pyramid people, basically. And the SETI has some prisoners on board that the Thek first say better be, they better be okay, or there's going to be some trouble. But they basically disable the fleet, the SETI fleet. And then this big yacht with the Parchandri, who is sort of the head of Fed Central, who is also one of the tops that leads the Planet Pirates. They get away. And Arlie's like, great, wouldn't you know it? When we need the Thek again, they're gone. And one of the West says, don't badmouth them because they're there. And they disable that. And Sassenach becomes sort of governor of Fed Center until they're able to kind of figure out the government and who's going to control what again. So, I mean, there's a whole lot going on in this series. I say it's a big, like, space espionage book. And there's always something going on. There's not a whole lot of downtime to it. I read the omnibus, which is the cover that you see. The omnibus with all three books is 890 pages. It's a lot. But I'm doing them in their... I'm doing them by themselves because I don't want to spend an hour and a half talking about the whole omnibus. Because it's easy to do. I mean, it's easy to sit here and talk about an hour on Generation Warriors, really. And I'm leaving out a lot. But I think the important stuff is really there, and I would recommend it. I'm not... I gotta say, I'm not... I wasn't a huge sci-fi fan. The only other series I had read before this that was sci-fi was Stephen Donaldson's The Gap series, and that, to me, was just horrible. And if you disagree with me, you can put it down in the comments below. I just couldn't find any characters in there that I wanted to sympathize with. This one was different. And it just had a lot of good elements to it. So I give Generation Warriors a 4.8 out of 5. And I would probably say the whole series, because, I mean, everything's gotten a 4.8 up at this point. So the whole series basically gets a 4.8 out of 5. I liked it. I enjoyed the series. It's unfortunately my last Anne McCaffrey book I'm going to be reading. But it was good. They were good. And I would recommend them. Definitely. 4.8 for the series and for Generation Warriors. So, again, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when new videos come on up. Also, drop a comment down below. I love hearing from you, and I always respond back. And spread the word. It helps me out, and I appreciate it. So, until next time, as always, keep YouTube literate, and God bless.